ready to go.
Okay. Good morning, everybody, and welcome back. Today we're going to have some fun. A couple of days ago, I had a conversation with a subscriber, and we were discussing how much horsepower you could possibly get out of a two-stroke engine. Because in the 70s and early 80s, they made two-stroke lawnmowers with 6.5, 7 horsepower with a little two-stroke motor. Little motor. Made a ton of horsepower for its size. And I said, it'd be interesting to see how much power you could get out of that motor before it blows up. But how do you test that? My big problem is, how do you know exactly what your modification did? Because I don't have a dyno for a weed eater or a chainsaw. I don't know if they make one. If they do, I don't have one in my shop. So I went looking and wheeling and dealing, and I started with a $50 budget. And with that $50 budget, I bought this. Looks brand new, runs terrible. I got it running right, and basically had a brand new weed eater. And then I traded that weed eater for my test platform. Now this has got its share of problems. The accelerator doesn't work, the clutch is all wonky, the motor hasn't been started for years, but it's a perfect test platform to test little motors. I'm going to take this little Subaru motor, and we're going to get the clutch straightened up, and we're going to get it running right, and then we're going to use it to shake down the rest of the frame. The accelerator cable's broken. It's got a few problems. I'm going to move the motor backwards and then weld a new bracket on, move the seat backwards so that it's got enough room for my long legs. You get to pick the motor that goes in after we're done with that. So now that we've got a good little test platform, we can use it to get empirical data on what modifications do to a motor. If the modification works, it'll accelerate better. Top end, of course, is going to be limited by the gear ratio and the RPMs of the engine, but acceleration will be all about horsepower and torque. So you tell me in the comments, you vote, and that's the motor we'll do. Now, don't vote for a race motor or something that already starts off with 10 horsepower, because that's no fun. It'll be a lot more fun if we start with something that doesn't have a lot of power. My first thought was getting a right angle gearbox and putting a 6-horse two-stroke lawnmower engine in it. But I've found that they haven't made those in a long time, and they're really hard to find used. So then my second thought was, let's see what they've got for two-stroke horizontal shaft engines, where the gears come out the side. That'd bolt in a lot easier, and I wouldn't need the right angle gearbox for it. And I looked around, and I can't really find a big one, except for rare cases. I can't find a big one. And when I say big, I mean 100 cc and up. So I said, okay, fair enough. How do I want to do this? Do we want to put, say, an edger motor on it and then tweak it and tweak it and tweak it until it blows up? Do we want to put a chainsaw motor on it and see what we can make a two-stroke do? I don't know. This all happened pretty fast, and I didn't really think it through before I started. So I'm going to let you vote. You pick a motor, and that's what we'll put on it, and then we'll do modifications one at a time, and then we'll test what the modifications do by testing the acceleration of the go-kart. We'll start stock, and then go through the exhaust, because the exhaust is cheap horsepower. Then we'll go through the intake and try different things with that to see what we can get out of it. Then we'll try porting it and things like that and see what we get out of it. It's not about how fast we can make it go. It's all about the fun. So you pick a motor, and I'll get to work. And I'm hoping nobody picks electric motors, because they don't make any noise. And, well, we can get a lot of power out of one. The noise is half the fun. So thanks for watching. Vote for your motor in the comments. And after a few days, I'll get a look at it, and I'll count up the votes. And that's the motor we're going to use.